Do you want to know if RCs can fly? Well, this one certainly can. What's up everyone, Steve here again from RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7. This right here is the VKAR Bison. It's an awesome RC brushless beast, and to be honest, it is one of my favorite RC cars at the moment. Now recently I shot a video showing you the JLB 21101, which is the Cheetah Truggy, or the new improved version, and why I thought it was worth your hard-earned money. I gave that an 8 out of 10, but this one right here pretty much is on the top of my list. Now, the VKAR Bison is just a step above the JLB in my point of view. It could be different for anyone. They are all very, very close and are similar in price and have, well, nearly identical performance as well. So let's go check out why I think this VKAR Bison should be on your shopping list. Now the VKAR Bison I got from GearBest along with all my other cars I review, and I'm grateful that I got opportunity to test all of the cars I do. It gives me an unbiased, view on what is good and what is bad, and in some of my videos you might see that I'm very hard on these cars. It's for a reason, because I want to test them out to see if they are actually tough enough, for bashing, general RC and all that stuff, and not wasting your money on rubbish that generally breaks with the first run. Okay, enough of that. Let's go into detail in why I think this is a fantastic car, and it is pretty much number one on top of my list. Oh, except for the Traxxas X-Max. That's definitely my favorite. Now you would have seen plenty of videos that I've uploaded for the VKAR Bison. I've done an unboxing, I've done a speed test, and I've also done a bashing video, which I thought went very well. I launched that thing to infinity and beyond, and it pretty much came unscathed, apart from a wheelie bar or stuff like that, which is nothing really. It's just superficial plastic. Nothing really bad went wrong. Now, first look at the VKAR Bison. You think this looks pretty similar to a Traxxas e-Revo, and the styling does, I guess, but that's not a bad thing either. I think it does look pretty cool, and the great thing about it is it costs like nearly probably 2.5 times less than an e-Revo. Now that is one of the biggest selling points of any of these cars, the JLB or the Bison. They are fantastic value for money. When you think about it, you're getting a brushless powerhouse, really strong RC car. It includes a LiPo battery. In this case, it's a 3-cell, 3,500 milliamp hour battery. Awesome brushless system, 120 amp hobby wing ESC, and an all-round great RC car. Plus, it includes a charger as well. Now, the first things first, the body. It is very strong. It does look cool, and I have pretty much smashed the crap out of it, and it does look still very nice. Bear in mind, most of my stuff has been on grass or dirt, so if you were to bash it on concrete, expect it to look a lot different. But body is nice, graphics are cool, and it is very low slung, as you can see there, but it's held up so far. But enough of that boring body and plastic we don't really care about. The main thing is the actual powerhouse, what's running this puppy. Now, the main thing is what's under this nice protective sheet here, which you get, and it is included in the kit, which is fantastic. It keeps all the dirt and crap away from internally here and wrecking up your ESC or your motor or stuff like that, general rocks and debris, which is pretty cool. Now what you're really concerned about is here the 2650 4-pole brushless motor, which has heaps of torque, fantastic speed out of this bad boy, and it does get a little bit warm. That's normal considering how much punishment you do put through this. Now the awesome thing about the Bison, it does come with a reputable hobby wing 120 amp ESC, which is rated to 2S to 4S, and if you smack a 4S in there, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get to about 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, which is pretty exceptional. You hear that? I do. That's a decent fan that runs on this 120 amp ESC, and hopefully because of that fan I've had no issues with that overheating whatsoever. The motor does get a little bit hot, but because that fan is quite loud but very powerful, I've had no issues with that. So if you can put up with that noise, which I can because you don't hear that when you're running, big thumbs up for that fan and that ESC. Now I've done a speed test video and I only had a 3S battery, and from memory I think it was around about 70 kilometers an hour, which is excellent as well. I'll show you that video or a quick snippet of it right now. 3, 2, 1. Those front tires balloon like crazy, it's cool. Flat out, flat out, flat out. Let's go back here. There we go, it's doing a nice wheel stand. That is flat out. Let's see if we've got a max speed then. Still 72 kilometers an hour. So, as you just saw in that video, when you do get up to speed, these tires do balloon into some pretty decent pizza cutters, so that's pretty impressive, and so far these tires have held up no problems at all. So, to be honest, this combo here is fantastic, especially for the price of this car. You guys got to understand this. People think you can get a better system, yes, but you'll be paying a lot more. This is a massive motor, a massive 120 amp ESC, and it powers this thing flawlessly. Rooster tails, picks up dirt everywhere, wheelies on command, which is really good. And I haven't really tested on 4S yet, but on 3S it goes really well. So for this combo here, big thumbs up from me. Now the receiver that you get on here is the same as a JLB. It's a 4-channel and apparently it is waterproof. I haven't tested that out yet, and I've had a lot of comments and questions asking about that. It says it's waterproof, indicated by these little droplets, but I'm not too sure how well it is. I'll try to test it out later on, and if I do, I will definitely upload a video about it. Now nestled underneath that receiver is the steering servo, and being a stock servo, I've had no issues whatsoever, and I have found it pretty responsive, and to be honest, I wouldn't change it out for an additional aftermarket servo at all. It seems to be performing well. I have smacked it heaps of times. The steering, or the servo saver has seemed to worked. It's done its job. It hasn't cracked or anything like that. You can see how it comes down underneath the steering mechanism. This chassis is different than the JLBs, for example, which is one sheet of, a thick sheet of aluminium. This is kind of like a modular chassis, and it seems to work well. I've had no problems with things getting stuck or caught in there, so that's a bonus as well. Some people were a bit concerned about that, but for me, it's worked flawlessly, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. So big thumbs up to the steering servo. Now another big selling point of this kit is it does include a LiPo battery. I've shown this in my unboxing video and stuff like that. It's a 3,500 25C battery, hard cased as well, which is nice, so it should protect it from bashing. Nothing will really puncture that plastic outer lining there, which is fantastic. The run times are about 20 minutes or so, which is decent for a kit. You can't really complain about that, and I've had no problems with this battery as well. The seems to balance out well. Always a good charge. When I'm finished with it, it seems to be within point something of a volt, which I'm very happy with. There's a battery tray. You can easily take out this foam block there and actually have longer packs, and you can have quite large packs as well, because these are just velcroed on, so you can have much larger packs than the stock one. Now while I got the body off, let's have a look at the actual shocks here. These might look very familiar to you guys, and to be honest, they seem to be exactly the same as the JLB Cheetahs, even the old model or the updated Truggy 21101. So I gave them praise, and I'm definitely giving these praise as well. They got the progressive dual spring system here, a nice attention to detail with the actual boot over the shock shaft itself, so no grime or dirt or anything like that can penetrate in there and maybe cause issues later on. I've had no problems with these. Everything's aluminium, anodized nice gold here with a kind of champagne color maybe, or a gold, and a silver actual threaded aluminium body as well. No complaints whatsoever. I haven't touched them at all. Maybe just tweaked them up and down, but the internals, the oil and stuff like that, haven't changed them one bit. Couldn't be happy with them, especially for an RTR kit. Big thumbs up for me for this, exactly like the Cheetah as well. So don't worry about the suspension on these boys. They can definitely take massive hits. While I'm up the front, you see the suspension mounts. They're actually very nice. They are thick aluminium there, and with a nice champagne, or if you call it a gold color, they are very nice. You can have different positions for the springs. They are very thick. I haven't bent them whatsoever. I have seen some people bend these bolts down, but to be honest, that is normal for any type of kit, not just specially for this particular one. So don't worry about that. With any big hits, you can obviously bend anything, and everything can break regardless of the price. But as you can see here, everything is nice and straight. I have not damaged anything, to be honest. And you've seen my videos. I've launched them. And had some pretty hard hits. Now, this all would be to waste if it didn't have good transmission or differential or gears and stuff like that. And thankfully, the VKAR Bison has. I've had no issues with the metal pinion against the plastic spur gear. A lot of people have asked me about that, and to be honest, it's been fine. No issues whatsoever. I've occasionally taken off this little cover, which is easy accessible. One screw, pop it off, and you can see the gear mesh just at a quick glance. But everything is at stock. I've obviously had a look at it. It's been fine. There's been no meshing issues at all. Performs really well. Now, as you can see in there, it's got a very beefy center drive shaft that connects the front and rear differentials. Now, while we're on the topic of the diffs, I just want to show you the actual diff carriers. They are chunky aluminium pieces. They're anodized, and they are very thick, maybe 5 mil thick pieces of aluminium, and they are really strong. Both the same for the front and rear, and all these suspension components and pins like that are reinforced with this aluminium. So definitely where the parts need to be strong, this kit has it. So no issues whatsoever there, and they do look very nice with that anodized. You can see the dog bones there. They look brand new, hardly any wear whatsoever. There's no indication of wear inside those cups whatsoever. So the steel in this seems to be very sturdy, pretty hard, and it doesn't seem soft at all. So this might kind of change if I put a 4S in there, but from my constant abuse, and I've had this for a good few months now, I have seen no wear and tear. So far so good on those front drive shafts. One big plus for the Bison, on my JLB, these have slightly bent, and that is maybe because of my driving style, the massive hits I've had. But to be honest, this has had the same amount of abuse, and I've pretty much drove this more than the JLB, and they are very straight, and I'm quite happy with them. Maybe it is because this car is slightly lighter, I'm not too sure, but so far so good with the axles and drive shafts there. All good. Now the front and rear differentials are identical, and to be honest, I've not taken them out at all or had a look inside what weight oil there is. Everything seems to be working well. I have gave it a good hit, and there's been many of accidents and many of starting and stopping, but I've heard no crunching of gears, which is fantastic. So another big thumbs up for the drivetrain. Hey, how's it going? All important traction is very beneficial when you have something this powerful, and so far so good. The compound or the rubber on these tires are very good, very grippy, and they work well on all surfaces. I've noticed tarmac, grass, dirt. Seems to be a nice compromise and a nice all-round tire. So big thumbs up from me. The only downside about them, they do balloon like crazy. If you want 4 sets of pizza cutters, you got them when you purchase this car, free of charge. 3, 2, 1. But regardless of how much they balloon, I've had no tearing, no splitting, nothing. No glue hasn't come off the rim at all. So very happy with them, and yeah, can't really go wrong. Now with the positive, there are some negatives. As you can see here, you got a 12 mil standard nut, which is, you know, it's okay. Hey, it does the job. They've never come off, but I prefer to see some big 17mm ones that you see on some other kits, but that's a small problem, no biggie. Now, doesn't really sway anyone's opinion or anything like that, but it does have these really cool and very bright LED lights, both two at the front and two at the rear there, and they do look very cool, especially if you're driving them, you know, in the late afternoon or even at night. They do light up the ground quite substantially, so from a looks point of view, they look very cool. As you can see, this chassis is a pretty cool, unique design. Some of the other ones are just one flat piece of aluminium or pressed steel or whatever it is, but this is kind of like a modular design. It's all plastic. There is no aluminium down here, but it is very strong, structurally sound where it needs to be. And the good thing about it, it is very easy to work on. All the hardware are countersunk and they all are Allen heads, so easy. No Phillips heads here to strip, but I'm very happy with the plastics. Even the wishbones you see here are very strong. Haven't bent them or anything, and they've taken a good pounding. Very nice. Obviously you get some few scratches and stuff like that, but that is normal on any kit that you bash, and bash well. So plastics, big thumbs up, no problems whatsoever. No breaking or anything like that. Seems to be a perfect mix of structurally rigid and a bit of flexibility so things don't just snap. Now, the one thing I wish were to be improved was, you can see here that the pins, they are stainless steel 3mm suspension pins here. They're only held on by this little rubber or plastic kind of like sleeve that sits into this aluminium housing. I've had no problems with it, but it would be preferred if it had like a style like the JLB has, where it's a big flathead screw kind of sits over it slightly to lock it in place. But no biggie. Definitely would be nice if they were thicker. The JLBs are 4mm, these are 3mm pins, but haven't broken any yet, so just to let you guys know, not everything is perfect. Now, with all the positives, there obviously have to be negatives. Nothing is perfect, and to be honest, there aren't a lot of negatives with this kit. As you can see here, I have broken the wheelie bar, and if I kind of can get a close up there and in focus, it's just sheared straight off there under a hard landing. If I have that video, I'll show you that right now. Well, there's the first accident of the day. Wheelie bar pretty much just snapped off at the points there. So there you go, that's the first weak point, but I did give it a bit of a hit for that to break, but apart from that, it's still drivable, so let's hit it. Did you like that? I certainly did. I thought it held up pretty well considering the amount of punishment I gave it. And to be honest, anytime you fly down like this and hit the wheelie bar from a decent height, what do you expect it's going to happen? Maybe it'd be better if it was redesigned with another additional like 2 mounts per side. It might be a bit more rigid, but I'm not going to give it any down points or anything for this because I broke it on the JLB. I've smashed it on my X-Max completely to smithereens. I used cable ties, put that back together, by the way. But yeah, no problems. Hit it hard on the ground, you're going to break the wheelie bar. That's something you'd expect, but parts are cheap and they are becoming available. I've also smashed down on this rear wing and it's still there, very solid. It has a nice mounting system and it can be adjusted as well. So if you want to adjust the angle of the wing, you can slightly. As you can see there, a slight adjustment for downforce when you're going that fast. Maybe on a 4S, you might squat the back down. Now, a big thing when you're buying these online kits is parts availability, which can suck ass if you can't get them readily, because generally you have to wait. That's the nature of the beast. They are cheaper, but you have to wait a little bit longer. The good thing is that they are coming in stock. GearBest have them coming in finally, which are good. There are other vendors that do carry them as well. So what I recommend, if you do purchase the car, you buy the parts along with it. Maybe some suspension pins, axles, or suspension A-arms, or whatever you think you need. To be honest, I haven't broken anything yet, so it might just be good. Maybe I'm just an awesome driver. Yeah, I just think I'm a really good driver. Far from it. Just look at some of these hits that I gave this car, and yeah, I'm not good. Not good at all. Now, one thing that caught my mind, I went into GearBest and I noticed that this is a 120 amp version, but they also released an 80 amp version recently, which is excellent. A bit more price conscious. That is available as well. So if you want to save a little bit more money, you can go to the 80 amp. I think it's speed range from 70 to 80 kilometers an hour, where the 120 amp version is 80 to 90 kilometers an hour. Not that big of a deal, but to be honest, this doesn't weigh that much, so the performance will be great regardless. Transmitter. Not the flashiest transmitter, but it does the job and it does it very well. No range issues whatsoever. Exceptional range as far as you really is comfortable to drive it, and yeah, everything is needed. Throttle, steering dual rates, so you can turn that down if you need be. Throttle trim and steering trim, all the basic doodads there that you need on any decent hobby grade controller. So big thumbs up from me with the controller. Good thing is, only uses 4 AA batteries, so that's great. Controller, big thumbs up from me. Can't really go wrong. It's simple, does the job. This might be a little bit of concern for if some people have kids, you don't want to snap that off. You can always drive it with it down, but the range might not be as long, but no biggie, does the job and I like it. What can I say bad about the VKAR Bison? Not much. Not much really. Now, I don't get paid to say, oh, these are fantastic, but they're not. To be honest, I'm unbiased. I have all the cars, and thankfully I'm very grateful for that, and I can tell you that there's not much that is bad about the Bison. A couple of the superficial plastic stuff which can snap on any kit, that's about it. There is not much at all. I'm extremely happy with the VKAR Bison, and I'd be gladly recommend it to anyone that's coming into the hobby that needs something that, you know, maybe is a bit of a future proof. They can turn it down for the throttle, or even an experienced hobbyist or RC driver, whatever you want to call yourselves. It'll be a great addition to your family. So what do you think I gave this out of 10? I gave the VKAR Bison a solid 9 out of 10. There is not many areas that need to be improved. I don't think, you know what, maybe even 9.5 out of 10. 9's a bit slack for that. 9.5 actually out of 10 for the VKAR Bison. It's great. Not many things to improve. I've only broken a couple of things. I'm not going to go on about them because they are nothing really to worry about. So 9.5 out of 10 for the VKAR Bison. That's pretty high. Really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to ask me, please leave them down in the comments section down below. I always try to answer everyone's questions and stuff like that. I really try to do that. I don't leave anyone just hanging there. So please, any questions, just ask. As all my kits, or majority of my kits, I get them from GearBest. 120 amp version and 80 amp versions are available. I will leave the links down below so you can go check them out, and if you want to buy them, you can easily buy them from there as well. So happy days. If you do like this series, please let me know where I think if it's worth spending your money. I think they are great for anyone getting into the hobby and doesn't want to, you know, buy a dud and think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's me, guys. Steve here again from RC Tanks and Trucks 24/7. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.